for the sake of this former center manager of yours. I will start, colleagues, in an unusual way and start by thanking you, because you know the word of thanks is normally the last, but lest I forget. As a starting point, I would like to express a word of appreciation to whoever had the presence of the mind to think about this, the brainchild of this idea. But it doesn't end there, the entire team, because one person thought about this and it just came on board. You bought the idea. There's a Chinese proverb that goes like this, and I quote, "He who doesn't thank for little will not thank for much."
Oh.
He who doesn't thank for little will not thank for much. I'm not saying what you have done is little, but I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I also wish to take this opportunity and thank my wife, my wonderful wife, because had it not been for her support, I would not have achieved some of the things that I have achieved in life. You know, colleagues, it was weekend in, weekend out. We are always at the center. It would only be under exceptional circumstances that one would not be at the center. If it was not for her support, or if she didn't want me to be at the center, it would not have happened. Thank you so much. Mom, for talking about colleagues, I will just share some few things with you. I'm Wisile Patiana, by the way. I'm a child of these shores. I was born and bred here in East London. Not that I don't have a rural background, but I was born and raised here. I come from a family of 8 with only one sister. We are all males at home from very humble beginnings. I am the first matriculate in my family. I am the first person to achieve the tertiary qualification. But we have an elder brother, the firstborn, who was very brilliant and intelligent. But he had to be a deputy parent, even when the parents were there. That's how humble our background was. So he had to leave school in Form 3 so that he could become a deputy parent. So some of the features that have been described here, I inherited them from my parents. My mother, Makhateli, was a very meek person, very loving, and my father was the opposite. So you find those in me, you know. I am a hybrid of those two. One of those is humility. I want to talk about that, humility, ladies and gentlemen. The Oxford Dictionary defines humility as the attitude or feeling that there is nothing special about you that makes you better than others. There is nothing special about you that makes you better than others. You have to be humble all the time. You have to respect the people in your midst. And respect is a two-way process. And I have, displayed that in all, the sectors that I have been. It's been a very long journey, colleagues, of 31 years of service in the Department of Education. I started working under the Department of Education and Training at Kusile Comprehensive High School. Within 9 years of my service, I became a departmental head at that school. Then within 10 years of my service, I became a principal for the first time at Zinzai. Then, due to the size of the school, when an opportunity availed itself at Kulani, I raised my hand and I was recommended. I served that school from 2016 up until the 31st of November 2023. Now, just to share with you, Mr. Chotoku and others, colleagues, I've spoken about humility. As a leader, one also needs to be forthright. Forthright. As a leader, you are a decision maker. You must never develop cold feet when it comes to taking decisions, because it's part of your job. You cannot hide behind others when a decision has to be made. Of course, some of those decisions, Mrs. George, may be unpopular. You may be wrong, but you have to take a decision. It is only with the benefit of hindsight, when it's all done and dusted, when it's water under the bridge, that you are able to assess whether a decision was correct or not correct. But it doesn't mean that decisions must not be taken. So, Mr. Njokweni has just alluded to that fact. You know, when I had to look a colleague in the eye about whatever, I would do that. But one thing I never did, I would never scold. Ma'am can attest to that. Mrs. Luba. I always advise them that whenever there's something you want to convey to a colleague, use your office. Don't convey, messages in the corridors, colleagues, because people have egos. If I convey a message that you may not like in the staff room, for example, or in the corridors, it may backfire. So you need to call a colleague, and then you look each other in the eye, you convey the message that you want to convey in a very professional way. That is what I did with some of you. There's a chronic late karma who is not here. That chap who looks as one of the West Africans. You know whom I'm talking about?
Yes, coming.
Umtimba, Kiro, Utemba, you know? Utemba knows me very well, you know? I would call him into my office to say, but you are not supposed to do this. So colleagues, you need to be forthright as a leader. Also, you have to be flexible. I have done that, colleagues. You would recall, during the 10 sessions, it was never a head office decision. But I had to be flexible because most of you are tutors in Jan. We are fishing from the same pond, that is Jan and Kukwano. So I had to take a decision to say, it is our internal matter, head office doesn't know about this. But if they were to find out, I knew that I would have answers to tell them why we are doing things this way. We had to reduce the hours from 3 down to 2 so that we could release you earlier and the kids could also be released earlier, because these kids, at the end of the day, they are doing 7 subjects. So that's where flexibility comes in. Yes, on matters of principle, you have to be fair as a leader. But in some instances, so for the purposes of the organization going forward, because if you are going to be rigid, the organization may break and it may stall and not move forward. So colleagues, I wanted to say something about that as well. I have gained a lot in working with you, colleagues. One thing you must know is that we are a select group of special tutors. I would say this is a specialized program. It is a center of excellence, and we should conduct ourselves as such. Exercising discipline, and one of the key features of discipline is punctuality, to do things on time. If we have to do group marking, it must be finished on time. If we have to arrive at work, we must do that on time. So colleagues, you must know that you have lots of potential. Not everybody is exposed to this opportunity. This is an opportunity that develops one professionally. I have been developed by this program, such that I would take some of the things and implement them at the school I was managing. Curriculum coverage templates, for example, topics that have been covered. Umem can attest to that. Those have been adapted to the Kutlwano, rather to the Kulani curriculum management approach, the same approach that is used at Kutlwano. Ladies and gentlemen, without much ado, once more, I want to thank you and want to encourage you as well that you must grow. Many of the people whom I started, teaching with, some of them are still stuck in post-level 1 posts. Myself, because I have never hidden behind others' life. I have never looked down. Tall as I am, I even walk taller with my chin held high. I am not intimidated by any situation. Ma'am, she would attest, I would say even to my learners that when you enter a hall for a meeting or even in church for whatever purpose, take the front rows. You must never, when there are empty seats in the front, you decide to take a back seat. Because the PA system might be faulty and you could spend an hour attending a meeting not having had a thing. It is people who are not sure of themselves, who lack self-confidence, who occupy the back seats of the hall. And by so doing, opportunities of life might go past you as if you were absent but you were there. So that has been my approach in life, colleagues. I have always raised my hand whenever an opportunity availed itself. Even now, I can assure you, but now it's near to the hand, if another opportunity were to avail itself, I would still raise my hand. Colleagues, keep up the good work. The center must grow from strength to strength. When I got there, I took over from Mr. Bagana, who was the acting principal at Kulane back then. The center had only 60 learners per grade. We took it as a team to 90 learners. We have taken it as a team to 120 learners. And you must take it as a team to 180 or even 200 learners. And I know you can do it. You have the capacity to do it, colleagues. With those few words, once more, I want to say, Enkosi, Enkosi, Enkosi. Thank you.